Good morning and welcome to GrainTV for March 29th, 2012. To my right is Cody Bills and I'm Brock Shimbano. Traders and producers are looking towards the end of the week for the planting intentions report and the quarterly grain stocks, but today we received some fundamental news by way of the export sales report. It looked like it was sad across the board. Cody, why don't you take us through the numbers?
Yeah, you said it was a sad story, so grab some tissues and a box of chocolate. You're going to need some comfort food here. Corn came out below expectation, 157,000 metric tons versus an expected 650, so that is just abysmal. Beans hit the mark a little bit closer here, coming in at 592 versus 600, so that's on par. And wheat came in lower, about 403,000 metric tons versus 500. Take a look at the sales progress. We're in week 29. We're ahead of pace 9 million bushels, but if you've been following this, you'll know that we have declined to 20 million bushels since last week as a result of that sales right there. This week's export sales was actually the lowest we've seen throughout the entire marketing year, and as you can see, the gap between the top of that bar and the red, which is what we expect, is significant, and that really hurts.
You know, something that we have seen over the last couple of days that has been a little bit more encouraging is that we have seen old crop sales of about 120,000 metric tons of corn and soybeans to China for old crop. And we've also seen new crop sales of about 120,000 metric tons of both corn and soybeans for next year. So that's a little bit more encouraging this week, although last week looks like it was abysmal across the board.
Yeah, like you said, those sales will be in next week's report, not this week's. So it is good to see that we will have some grain sales next week. Maybe we'll beat this week's performance. But let's take a look at soybeans. Came in as well as week 29. We're about 10 million bushels ahead. We improved 7 million bushels. You know, for guys following this, we've gone from minus 50-something million bushels in terms of the pace that we're moving to meet USDA expectations to now being ahead of pace. I really like to see this, and I can only imagine that the remaining part of this marketing year will continue to outperform the USDA expectations.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to take a look at the live quotes when we get back. And we're also going to review what the analysts are expecting for tomorrow's reports.
GrainHedge is more than just futures trading. Clients receive our cash grain optimizer showing spot and forward bids within 200 miles of your farm. We take into account your trucking costs to find your best selling opportunity. We provide in-depth basis mapping, historical basis and cash price charting. Every day we show you your best price and if it meets your profit goals. Contact GrainHedge today to get started.
Welcome back to GrainTV. The markets are open in Chicago, so let's turn over to our fire tip trading software for the live quotes. Corn is up 1/4 cent, soybeans up 2 1/4, wheat down 5 1/2 in Chicago, and in Kansas City we're off 6 1/4. Tomorrow we get a bivvy of information from the USDA, but let's take a look at the technical landscape real quick just to get an idea of where we're sitting there.
Yeah, right now we're looking at the May corn contract, and as you can see here, we have just bled lower in the last 3-4 trading sessions this week. That seems to be the trend. Of course, this puts us within a limit move down of taking out the support at $5.90 and $6. You know, that is a very key support level, and if you look back over time, we have hit on it a number of times. And so what I'm worried about here is if we get a bearish planting intentions and if we get a bearish quarterly stocks and we move lower, taking out those areas, we could see added pressure, added selling pressure as sell stops are hit below those key levels. So the bottom line here, folks, for producers is that there is significant downside risk here going into this report. I'm a little bit nervous about it. Brock, it's all about the expectations of the market. Can you walk us through what the market is expecting here for tomorrow's report?
Yeah, basically like what we were saying on Tuesday, the market is expecting corn to be planting around 94.7 million acres, soybeans around 75.4 million acres, and wheat about 57,000, or million acres. And quarterly stocks is going to be a concern as well. We're looking at about over 6 billion for corn, 1.38 for beans, and about 1.2 for wheat. So if the numbers come in quite a bit higher than what they are right now, we could see a bearish report in the early going tomorrow.
Well, that should be an interesting thing to pay attention to. Why don't you give us a call at 877-472-4607 if you have any questions about preparing for this report. You only have a couple hours left to position yourself, and of course you can also do it in the overnight session, one of the benefits that our fire tip trading platform users have. So give us a call, we'd be happy to help you out.